Here we go, going live. Let's make sure all systems are go. Pretty sure all systems are go. Internet looks good. The setup looks good. Usually just wait for this live to pop up on my computer over here to the right, and there it is. Looks like I better turn that sound down. So excited to be here. It's Wing T Hangout night, which is, of course, right up my alley. But I'm not limiting myself to Wing T only hangouts. Last night was triple option hangout. Had a triple option coach on, followed by a top-notch triple option video from the online clinic. So hope you caught that. It'll be coming, the video itself that was from the clinic will be coming down from the YouTube channel here shortly, but it stays up for about 24 hours. Tonight, we got Wing T coaches in the house, talk a little Wing T for 30 minutes, followed by a top-notch Wing T presentation from the online clinic, clinic.chiefpigskin.com. Tonight's is from Jim McKee, Scott County High School in Georgetown, Kentucky. And Scott County is one of the larger schools in Kentucky, and they've won 10 or more games for like the last 12 years or so, give or take a year. They're unbelievable. They're unbelievable at what they do. Coach McKee is a riot to listen to. He's a great coach to listen to. He's a great speaker. One of my favorite speakers of all time. And his presentation will start around 8:30 tonight. But again, we're going live here from 8 to 8:30 with some Wing T coaches, which they'll be on here in just a moment. And followed by a top-notch Wing T presentation from the online clinic. So, welcome. If you're in the house visiting, comment over to the side if you're live with us tonight. If you're not watching live, well, shoot, leave a comment down below and let us know where you're watching from. We've had a great time growing our audience here on our YouTube channel and just growing our community within the online clinic. Two of the guys that will be on tonight have been speakers on the online clinic and have presentations on there. So you'll get to know those guys tonight a little bit. And we'll just talk ball. If you have any questions at all tonight and you're watching in chat, type those questions in the chat. Again, let us know where you're from. Type in questions or comments or thoughts, or shoot, if we ask a question, type your own answer there in the chat. We just want to try to have a little bit of community tonight. You know, life is tough, so we want to just have times to hang out. Tonight is the time to hang out. There's good football on TV. Have this on the side. Throw some comments in. Meet some new coaches. And enjoy, if you'd like, an incredible Wing T video that will start playing at 8:30. It will be on for about the next 24 hours, the Wing T video, before it comes back down and resides only on the online clinic. Let's get some of our guests in here. I can see that some are in. Lucas Freeman from Minnesota, admitting now. Sam Hernandez from Wisconsin, admitting him now. And we'll be waiting on one more guy. Well, and there's my one last guy. Hold on, there should be four of us, man. Welcome, welcome. Here's my Wing T crew. Holy beard, Al Craig. Holy beard. Jeez, that thing's out of control. I love it. Hey, welcome everybody. This is my buddy Al Craig. We coach, we're both Illinois guys. We coach like 30 minutes away. We've actually coached together in our career. But two guys, this is Sam Hernandez, who spoke for the online clinic and coaches at Tomahawk, Wisconsin. And Lucas Freeman, we haven't met you yet, but I know you've joined us on the chat quite a bit, so it's nice to meet you. Tell us where you're from.
Yeah, I'm from Slade, Minnesota, coach and teach at Murray County Central High School in Slade, Minnesota.
And tell us where that is.
It's in the southwest part of the state. The best way to describe it's about an hour west of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So we're right on almost the South Dakota border. So we're way out there.
And you guys are a Wing T team?
Yes, we
and
are.
What's
hybrid.
your role on the staff?
I am the offensive coordinator.
Okay, so you were about to say the word hybrid. What does that mean for the Wing T hybrid?
Yeah, so I say our blocking schemes are Wing T based. Our formations maybe are a little bit different than what traditional Wing T guys go by. It's not the Tubby Raymond 900, 100 formations, but we do a lot of stuff out of the trips package, but big belly G guy, big trap guy. So a lot of those things, and we've kind of evolved over time as well, depending on the players that we've had.
Okay, well, we've got 30 minutes to talk wing tee, and following this video, and we're going to get to each of you. Following this video, we're going straight into one of our videos from the online clinic. We're going to the Inside Belly series from Jim McKee out of Scott County High School in Scott County, Kentucky. And Sam, your video actually played last week here on our YouTube channel of using formations and whatnot to, it was using formations and motions to keep your belly and buck series alive, I believe it was. And that one played last week. Coach, you're actually gearing up for a season right now, right, Sam?
We are. We just got out of our last night at camp. We scrimmage tomorrow, and we have our home opener with our brand new stadium next Friday night. So
that's excited. Great. The turf and all.
Turf and all. It's gorgeous.
Wow, so excited for you, man. Big things happening there in Tomahawk. And tell us, so you're the head coach there. How long have you been there? And Freeman gave us kind of his brief overview of what his wing tee is like. How long you been at Tomahawk, and what's the brief overview of your wing tee?
Yeah, so this is the start of my second year at Tomahawk. And before that, I spent 4 years as the offensive coordinator in Johnson Creek, Wisconsin, which is in south central Wisconsin. And then I actually got my start in Lake Mills, Lake Mills High School. And while they're full spread now, about 10 years ago, you wouldn't know it if you saw them right now, but they were a traditional 100-900 wing tee football team. And we were running the 20 series and the 50 series. And that was where I cut my teeth, learning the wing tee, and brought that over to Johnson Creek. And we started off as a base 100-900 team, and then personnel shifted. We went back to the pistol, and then the next year we had a big line for small school standards, and we went back under center, and we played power football. And then we had a really good quarterback my last couple of years, and we did some more spread stuff with that, introduced the spread wing tee, and so that brought me up to Tomahawk. And last year we were under center. We were 100, 200, 300. Again, if you've seen the online clinic, we like to use motion. We like to use formation, subtle formation shifts to gain a numbers advantage. And then this year with all of the craziness, with not knowing if we were going to have a season, and then not knowing if we were going to have to shut down temporarily for midweek for a day or two, we really simplified what we're doing, and we really broke it down to our buck series. And then we're gonna do some different things with that under center, and then throw in some spread concepts with it as well.
Well, I'm excited to talk a little more wing tee with you tonight. Al, I'm saving you for last because I know you the best, and I'm going to make you wait a little longer, Al, because I'm going to check in with our guys in the chat. Welcome, everybody in the chat. We got Quiroga in the house from Chicago. We got my dad in the house from Georgia, who is appreciating your beard right now, Al. And Ben Campos in the house out of Carbondale. If you're watching, we would love to know where you're watching from. Appreciate you checking in. Tonight's Wing Tee Hangout night. We are going to talk. We got Wing Tee coaches in the house from 8 to 8:30. At 8:30, we're showing one of our great Wing Tee videos. We've got a ton of them on the online clinic, but we're showing one of them tonight, and it'll be able to be accessed here on our YouTube channel for the next 24 hours. And it is the Inside Belly series by Jim McKee out of Scott County, Kentucky. Coach Craig, now I know you were with me, and we together ran. We were wing tee, we were under center. Now we didn't use the old formation names, 100, 200, 300, 900, but we were fairly traditional wing tee. However, and you've been that for the last several years. However, we're in for some changes. Tell us what we're in store for and why.
That's right. Yeah. So we are in the transition to go gun wing tee from under center. So we've been under center the last 2 years, had some really skillful running backs and some bruising running backs the last few years. So my first year at Oakwood, our running backs were actually bigger than 80% of my line. So
yeah.
It made a difference, and we were just a power shove it down your throat team. But now we've kind of gotten to where I have more, I don't know, like I want to say receiving type kids, not really running backs. So we want to get them out in space a little more. We're still going to stick with our wing T plays, but we're going to add in some more spread concepts and things like that too. So we're pretty excited about it. We spent the summer, with the limited time we had, putting it in, and it looked good at the end of camp. And then, we got told we're gonna have to wait till February. So who knows what it'll look like in middle of the February in Illinois. It probably won't look as good as it would have like tomorrow night.
Right. Well, tell me this, fellas. Here's where I want to start. And in this day and age, okay, and none of you three look to me like old fuddy-duddy old school coaches, okay? In this day and age, a wing T guy takes a lot of heat for choosing to be a wing T guy in the modern day football, quote unquote. Why does a coach choose to run the wing T in the year 2020? Why is it? Why? Why is this a good idea? And it's not just the old school type thought process. Let's just start with you, Freeman.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And for me, in high school, we didn't run the wing T. And so I learned it actually off Chief Pigskin. And what caught me was kind of just the angles of the blocking schemes and just being consistent with, we're a small school with only 200 kids. And I just felt like those are schemes that we can use. And like Coach Craig was talking about in their transition to the shotgun wing T, it's so versatile to be able to do those things with the different kids that you've had. So although it is an old school offense, I think even in today's college game, you're seeing more of, you're seeing buck sweep. Well, we'll call it pin and pull or whatever they want to call it, but it's buck sweep, and GT counter even has some wing T concepts, and you don't see as much trap. But I think there's more wing T in the game now than what people will give it credit for, even if the formation looks a little bit different. So I think just the consistency and the versatility is why I choose to run it, and it'll be something that will always be a part of my coaching career.
Now, Sam, you've chose to run it, and not only just run it, but again, even the older school looking version of it, which is under center, that's really who I've been as a head coach for the last 8 years. I was under center. So even a little bit more old school look. Sam, why is it a good idea? Why do you believe in it?
It becomes part of your identity of your program. I don't care, what you're running. If you're a flex bone team, if you're a pro I team, if you're a wishbone team, and or if you're a full spread team and you're going to come out and chuck it around the yard for 50, 60 times a night, for me, what I've found over the years is that when you establish this system of offense, your linemen fall in love with it. They get to make down blocks. Your guards love it. They get to pull. Your backs love it because they all get to be involved. You get that counter crisscross hitting, and you get buck trap. You get buck sweep hitting. A defense doesn't know what's coming, and it's 6 plays. And you can install that at whether you're a school similar to Coach Freeman. The previous school I was at was 196, and 9 out of our 11 kids played both ways. You don't have an hour and a half of indie offense every night of the week to get all your RPO reads in. So you got to be really smart with what you've got. And at the school that I'm at currently, we've got 44 kids out for football this year, which is up about 10 kids from a year before. So that's good. But still, with those numbers, we need most of our athletes to play both ways. And so we've got to be really efficient with what we do. And then our kids buy into that blue collar mentality of where we're going to come in and we're not going to look real flashy, but we're going to look sharp when we do it. And we're going to out execute you, or at least that's the goal.
Well, Al, let's go over to you, Al. And when I started coaching with you back in 13 or so, from what I remember, I don't think you had any wing T experience before that. And of course, we were full-fledged wing T for 5 years. And then you went off to become a head coach and you got your first gig. You stayed wing T, and now even as you grow into your own versions of things, I think that's how we all kind of start somewhere, right? And all of our offenses to go their own branch of the tree, but even as you start to branch into your own branch of the tree, Al, you seem to be staying wing T. I don't know that 10 years ago that would have been your choice. What is it now that makes you, that's my choice?
So when I coach with you, I think you put it best. Like, we're going to try to shoot ourselves in the foot the least amount. And I feel like the wing T does that the most. Like you don't shoot yourself in the foot. Like, half the time, if you go back and watch my film, like we have a blocker that doesn't block something correctly, and we still turned it into a decent play. I just think that it lends itself so much to not as many negative plays. You're usually ahead of the sticks. You're moving the ball, you grind it out. For us, we are, like I said, my line is small. And if I'm asking them to base block somebody or something like that, it's not going to happen. Like they're just going to get shoved to the side. But when I ask you to down block, you can do that, right? you can pull and kick somebody out and get in the way. I think you put it best when I kind of took over the line coaching job. I think it was the last year we were together. We need our guys just to die slow. Like they're probably going to die, but we just need them to die slow. And the wing tee kind of lends itself to that, you don't have to be highly skilled to make it work, right? You can make it work with what you got. And I think that goes back to what Coach Freeman said earlier and Coach Hernandez said, we can just make it work. We can make it to where it works with the players we have, and we can adjust things on the fly. And, there's so many variations of it out there that, you can find something that fits your kid. So, as I started to branch out into the gun wing tee, I was kind of stubborn on it a little bit. My coaches were like, yeah, we got to do it. And I was like, I kind of want to stay where we're at. I feel good. And then the more, I looked at it, I was like, it's not that much different. It's still the same. So, so it's like I said, it's a great offense, and it's definitely not for dinosaurs.
Yeah. So I'm going to check in here with the chat. If you're just joining us, we would love for you to check in. Let us know where you're watching from. We got Guy in the house from Chicago. We've got Georgia. We've got Carbondale, Illinois, and Kroger out of Dolphus, Ohio. So if you're here watching, we would love for you to check in. Tonight's just a Wing Tee Hangout. We've been going live Monday through Thursday nights here from the office in downtown Champaign, and we're kind of doing a variety of things. Monday nights, I'm live with Charles Watkins from Concordia University, Chicago. Tuesday nights, we did for the first time this week, open night, where we just threw the Zoom code out there and guys were just jumping on. Last night was option hangout, and tonight Wing Tee Hangout. I've got 4 Wing Tee coaches in the house, and we are talking live here till 8:30, and at 8:30 we go to the online clinic video of the night, which is Inside Belly Series from Coach Jim McKee out of Scott County, Kentucky. 10 or more wins for 10 plus years. How about that, fellas? Is that impressive or what? 10 or more wins for 10 plus consecutive years. He's incredible at what he does. We got Ben Pollard in the house out of Clarksville, Tennessee. Ben doesn't join us a ton, but I know for a fact I've seen your name before. Jerry Payne in the house tonight out of Charleston, Illinois. Welcome, guys. Thanks so much for checking in, and thanks for hanging out with us. Even if you hang out for a minute or two, we're glad to have you. Fellas, we're halfway through our time together talking Wing Tee football. What I want to do, we'll go back around the horn backwards this time, for opposite way we came from. One of the things that's on my mind, Wing Tee wise, is that I feel like for me, I personally like having a split end. I like having a tight end and a split end. For me, I like having it because I have felt like I could predict more of your front when I wasn't in two tights, right? When I had a clear strength. So that was my preference to call it. But one thing that has been on my mind is how do I hold you accountable to defending that with more than just one man? I don't think I can necessarily make you double team it. But maybe I don't need to make you double team it. How do I at least make it so that you're uncomfortable with that outside backer being right against our tackle? You want him, you're trying to keep him some width to help. Or that safety, you're not comfortable bringing him all the way over our tight end. You're kind of keeping him to the wide side. How do I help give someone out there to be more accountable to that? I'm looking for some ideas. What are your thoughts that come to mind, fellas, to keep people, hold them accountable, right? Yes, we're going to be great throwing the ball, but I got to hold them accountable, trying to get them off of me. What do you got? Al, we're going to go the opposite direction. What comes to mind?
All right. So for us, that exact reason you were talking about was kind of the reason why we went spread wing tee. we had a conversation. You were actually at my playoff game last year, and we had a conversation afterwards, and you were like, dude, that corner wasn't even covering your receiver. So they weren't even putting a full man out there. They were putting like a half a man out there on our receiver. And, we had things going pretty well, and we didn't really need to test it at all. We were able to move the ball. But so then when I started looking at it, I was like, well, we need to lighten the box. We need to, because then the next week, we ran into a team that was better than us, and they loaded the box, and we got ran through. So we had to adjust, and so that's kind of why we were going that gun wing tee. We're going to hold them accountable with screens and things like that. So I guess going back to if I was going under center and then how I would hold them accountable, you have to be willing to throw it out there. And I wrote it on my play sheet every single week. I was like, we have to throw on first down. We have to do it. We have to do it. And then we never did. There every single time, and we never did it. And it drove me crazy when I'd go back and watch film, and I'd be like, no, we just didn't do it again. So next week it would be in bigger font. So I started at 18 font. The next week it was 30.
Yeah.
I guess it should have just been my entire play sheet was throwing first down, and we just didn't. So I guess, first of all, you got to put a guy out there that the team knows is a threat. A lot of times for us, that's how we kind of were running in plays. So we would have, other coaches have told me, well, we caught your tendency when, this guy comes in, you don't throw as much or whatever. So, when that guy came in, then they would move their safety back over or whatever. And so I guess for me, just picking up on those tendency things of what I'm doing and always keeping a threat out there in that split end spot, it would help a ton. And, like I said, I'm saying that, but I didn't hold myself accountable to it.
Sure. Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I can't tell you how many videos I've made where I'm sitting here preaching something, and the reason you'll see me get so fired up is because you'll see the moment where I start preaching to myself, and I'm getting mad at myself. This has to be done. Yeah. Sam Hernandez, what are your thoughts? I don't know how much you like to split a guy, but what are your thoughts in this category?
Well, we split a guy out, and it's for the primary reason is similar to what you kicked it off with, Nate, is I want to get another guy out of the box. I've faced 10-guy boxes, just like I'm sure the three of you have as well, and teams are going to dare us to throw the football, and Coach Craig, you hit the nail on the head. Got to be more successful throwing the football on first down. That's been one of my biggest self-criticisms as a play caller over my entire career is I get so focused in on running belly or running sweep on first down, and then I kind of narrow up that play sheet. But to not beat a dead horse and steal all the same ideas that you just had is you got to run counter. You have to run something to the weak side of the formation that's going to make the defense respect what you do. For us, the counter crisscross has been a home run play for most of my career. But the other thing that's been really good is motioning that wing back across the formation and to force the defense to tip their hand. Are they in man or are they in zone? If they're in man, that corner is going to chase them across, and you've just brought another guy out of the box off the strong side of the formation, or they're going to be in zone and they're going to have to either rotate that safety down or they're going to have to shift the linebackers down. And if they don't shift the linebackers down, now you've got 2-on-1 on the edge, and now you just play a stupid game of flat curl or a smash concept, and someone's wide open. Keeping with the run, I've had a lot of success with the quick pitch out of that same idea. We come out with a twins look and we dirty up the split with the wing back, and then we tell our wing back, just crack back on the defensive end. And then the split end, he's got an easy block on the outside linebacker, and then we're going to pull the tackle out on the cornerback. And there's not a tackle in high school football that doesn't love running against a 150-pound cornerback. And you start doing that a couple of times, he's going to wander out of the box quite a bit, and he's going to be out on that. He's going to be out on the split end, and before you know it, you're going to loosen up the linebackers. But that's really one of the things that we talk about is obviously we want to attack the strong side of the formation. That's where our numbers are at. But we want to hold the linebackers still where they're at. So good fakes by our fullback on our trap, and be able to run that counter across the formation. So our line's got to hold their water too.
I like that, Coach. Coach Freeman, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think a lot of the other two coaches hit the nail on the head with a lot of the concepts there. The one thing I would add to, and Coach Craig kind of mentioned this, that throwing the ball early, And I think, that first series, I think if you can throw the football, and you got to be okay with an incompletion, because you at least put the threat out there. And I know I learned a lot from my defensive coordinator watching what makes him go nuts. And if it's something that breaks the tendency, that's something that he doesn't like. So I think getting in the mindset of, we're going to throw the football in that first series on first or second down, and we got to be okay with an incompletion, which is tough because we're all about consistency and getting that 3 and 4 yards and cloud of dust. But I think it does set you up for success. As long as you don't turn it over in the first drive, you're still going to have a chance to win. And I don't think you can lose it in that first drive. So just having the ability and comfort zone to throw the football on first and second down, and being okay with an incompletion because it's going to help lighten the box and make that corner honor that split end. And the other thing I think, like Coach said, with crisscross and counter, I think boot's a really good way to attack that weak side, especially if that outside linebacker's on the line of scrimmage. You can attack that flat really easily, or using your split end as a blocker too if he's not really a threat out there, and running jet or rocket and cracking with them and then getting the guard out in that corner. That can make them honor it without having to throw the football. So all those ideas I think really work. And I think just got to be true to it, got to stick to your play sheet, got to be willing to risk it on a first or second down, be okay with an incompletion.
Man, you guys all had really good answers. Man, we've got time for one last question. I'm going to give you the question so you have time to think about it, and then I'm going to go over and check in on the chat. So our last question is, can you think of an instance where you had to troubleshoot something within your offense, and what maybe wrinkle you guys use for that? And that could be troubleshooting. Somebody was giving us fits on our buck sweep, and we had this adjustment. Somebody's giving us fits on our crisscross, we had this adjustment. If you can think of anything like that, just to give people a little bit of flair, some wing T flair, because we all do run like the same base plays, but boy, there's a lot of cool little fun things you can do in there that create a little more space for you. And I would just love to hear some of your ideas when I come back from this chat. So over in the chat, we got David Thomason in the house again tonight. Welcome, Coach. Great to have you. I cannot remember from last night where you're from, though. So remind us, if you can, where you're from. As soon as you say it, I'll be like, oh, dang it, I can't believe I didn't remember. But thank you for joining us. Anybody else in the house that hasn't checked in, let us know where you're watching from. We love keeping up with just the audience, and that has kind of continued to slowly grow. We go live from the office here somewhere around 8 o'clock till somewhere around 9:30 or 10 on Monday through Thursday nights. And so it's Thursday night, almost my video weekend, which I enjoy quite a bit. But last night was Option Hangout, Southern Oregon Coast, David Thomason's from. Man, how smoky is it where you are right now? You got to tell us. Last night was Option Hangout. Tonight's Wing T Hangout. I think we may have another Wing T Hangout on the docket next week. We're also going to have an 8-man hangout on the bill next week. Tuesday night's open mic night, I'll call it, where we put the Zoom code out. Anybody can join in. So really, we've been having a ton of fun with this. And the main reason, guys, that I continue to, so I teach during the day. I come home, I get my stuff, and I drive over to Champaign to go to my office 4 times a week for this reason, because myself, my father, a couple other guys, we've worked our tails off on this online clinic, and we think it's really incredible. I'm like, I just got to hustle and make sure more and more people know about it, because the amount of resources it's ridiculous, and it just keeps going. I'm excited about it. So I just keep coming out here. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm showing you a video tonight. We hope that at some point you'll check it out. Hey, before we get to these guys in this last question, if you could subscribe if you're not subscribed, and leave us a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. Those things help. At 8:30, we're heading over, and we were getting a clinic from Jim McKee from Scott County, Kentucky, on the Inside Belly series. All right, fellas, we got about 5 minutes left, which means you guys each get about 2 minutes or so to give us a wrinkle maybe that you've had to troubleshoot within your own offense. Who wants to kick this off?
I'll go.
All right.
So we third and fourth year, same offense. You go against the same coaches in conference every year, and they've got us all pretty well scouted out. And they were hammering down on our off tackle on our sweep most of the night, and they had some studs inside. But their weakness that we picked up on film was that their linebackers were ultra aggressive, which shut down our off tackle running game for the better part of the first half. One of the tricks that I picked up from Coach Steve Murphy, he got started in Southwest Wisconsin, and then he was over at Lake Mills, and he's the old school true wing T guy. And one year we were playing a well coached team, and he said, you know what we're gonna do this week? We're gonna fake the counter crisscross. He said they're really well coached, and when they see that wingback cross their face, they're gonna go with them. And so we're sitting in the coaches meeting before we met with our kids, and I said, let's try this. I think it's gonna be their big. And so all we called it was just a sweep skin, and all it told our wingback to do was that he was faking the handoff on the inside on the counter, and our two back was keeping the football. All of our blocking stayed the same, but sure enough, those linebackers were keying that wingback across his face, and we busted a big one out, and we beat the team that at the beginning of the year was preseason picked to win our conference, and it ended up setting up a three-way tie for the conference championship. But
wow.
Just that subtle little change with one kid running across the
so you still blocked it like sweep?
Yep, we still blocked.
But the wingback faked crisscross. I love it.
And I wish I still had the film. I'll have to try and talk to Johnson Creek to get that film sent up, because you saw they were a 5-3, and their three middle linebackers were just they must eat nails for 3 meals a day, because they just chased everything down sideline to sideline, and they just ran across the formation, and we got to the house. It was a really cool moment. So
I like that. Great little wrinkle. Okay, who's going next?
Yeah, I can go. The one that comes to mind for me is like I said earlier, we really like the trap play, but one place that we really have struggled with is once we play a 5 front with a really strong nose and getting movement on the nose, because then it has to cut back so far, and getting to that play side inside backer with our tackle is tough. So the one thing that we did is we decided that we wanted to trap the nose, and the way we were going to do that was actually with our wing back. So we're a big jet team, so it times up exactly like jet. And I think I got this from Chat Headlet and at Glenbard West, and I think he ran and called a wham or something like that. And so basically everybody on the line steps right. If they have a guy in their gap, they're going to block them out. If not, they're going to go up to second level, and we're going to get on those inside backers. And then that jet back is going to come, and he's going to slam that nose guard, and we'll hand it off just like trap, and it hits really tight up the middle that way. So that was a good answer for us to be able to run up the middle, especially against a true nose guard. If we couldn't wedge them, which we like to do as well, that's been a good answer. And the other one for us, since we run belly so much, and I've always looked in the belly option, I've never figured out how to get kind of that log block or coach that log block. So what we've done is we down block just like on your belly play, then the guard pulls, and instead of him logging, he goes and kicks the corner, and we run this to our split side. The split end cracks down that outside linebacker, and then you can option with that backside wing, or if you're out of the shotgun, then you can just option like a speed option out of that as well. So that's been really good for us, and kind of keeps that defensive end in limbo there, because if he squeezes hard in the down block, then he's going to have a hard time defending against option then.
I like that. I've not called really any wing T-ish offense from the gun, but as I start to draw things up, I can see like, okay, now we do have some other things open to us right now, right? Like trapping a nose with a wing back. I like that stuff. Al, what are you thinking about?
So we just have a couple things we've done with our buck sweep. 2 years ago, we were in a grind of a game in week 9. We had to win it to make the playoffs, and they were getting a lot of run through from our pulling guards. So as soon as our guards would pull, they would run through the gap and chase us down kind of backside. So the one thing we adjusted kind of at halftime, we started pulling our center instead of our backside guard, and cutting off that run through linebacker with our guard, and it worked pretty well. And then the other thing, we had to really a team that is pretty good about, like, if we down block, they expect buck sweep, so that defensive end kind of just stonewalls our wing. So we got to the point where he was kind of just standing there stonewalling our wing, and we just flipped the jobs of the guards. I think that's pretty common adjustment in the wing T, but you have your first guard wrap, second guard kicks, hits a little tighter, but you get that those linebackers are so used to running to a certain spot to stop buck sweep, and they kind of overrun that, and then you have a nice little cutback lane. So those two adjustments have been big for us. We haven't really done the center pull too much. We had a good center that year. He was a smart kid, and you know, I don't like it personally. It scares me a little bit, but he was good enough at it, and he got it done for us. But you know, we try to find all the tricks we can to run buck sweep. So.
I like that, man. Two great little adjustments there. But you're right. If you got a good kid, you know, sometimes your center is like, you know, you always get, and he could be anywhere. Sometimes you get a kid in certain places, you're like, honestly, the kid could do almost anything I ask him to do, you know? I can't tell you, we had a quarterback at Central for a while named Walker, and half of our footwork was learned from Walker. It was like, oh, that's how you do it and make it look really good. Okay, we'll just teach it like that now. That's how good he was. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Here's what you guys are gonna see. We're gonna say goodbye to these guys. I'm gonna flip over. There'll be a little transition over to our clinic video. I am gonna have to mute the sound on our clinic video for its intro because the music gets copyrighted here on YouTube, so I have to like mute that till that music's over. So when it mutes, don't panic. If you want to watch it, that sound is coming back. Guys, thanks so much. Coach Hernandez, man, you're in season. Good luck. Go get them. Coach Freeman, I heard Minnesota might be playing, so I'm rooting for you because if you play, our chances go up this much, and we want to play in Illinois too. Guys, open lines. Reach out anytime if you ever need anything. Sound good?
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Nate.
Thanks, Coach.
See ya.
See ya.